This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and I have my little dude, Petey, in the room. He just looked at me, actually. You know your name. And he's a bit of a whinger at the moment, so if you hear any as his tail wags as I do that, that's him in the background. It's not my ability to make two noises at once. But either way, if you don't know who Petey is, by all means check him out at Petey the Philosopher on Instagram. He's a cute little dude, little mini schnauz. But that's not the reason why I'm doing the podcast today, or really the content or the topic or the subject. I'm going to talk a bit about our ability to understand our personal experience and become object to things that we may usually become subject to. Now, what I mean by that, and I'm going to share an experience that I had with you yesterday. So I was driving home, and it was relatively late at night, around 10 o'clock, I think. And I had this sort of really weird almost like a glitch in the Matrix, it felt, right? And I was driving this car, and I'm looking out the windscreen, realizing that I'm driving the thing that's driving the car. I'm like observing it happening, right? And it was really strange. It's like I'm not a body. And I remember, I think that's the actual 12th podcast I did. This is 512 or 13 or something, 14, 15. The 12th podcast I did was You Are Not Your Body. And a lot of us sometimes get stuck in this idea that I'm fat, or I'm this, or I'm that, or I want to be more this, or want to be more that, and then build up an identity around that. Whereas this sort of weird, objective, observational sort of experience I had was like, I'm using this car to get home. That's what its resource is. That's what it's useful for. Shouldn't I be doing that with my body? I should be using it as a vehicle to experience this life, as opposed to seeing it in this first-person perspective where I am the body, or I am an emotion. So even when people go, I'm angry, it's like, or I'm frustrated. It's like, no, you're not angry. You are not frustrated. You are experiencing anger. You're actually observing it. You're experiencing it through your senses based on your actual semantically loaded structures of mind. But what happens is that we don't see it that way. We don't observe it that way. We move into first person where we just fully feel it, and then we identify around that, which actually perpetrates that issue or difficulty or whatever, right? And so this ability to become object and start to observe, and this is a practice, this is a meditation really, and start to observe things through third person, and that's actually even further move into an observer space where you're not even your thoughts, you're not your emotions. You don't get caught up. There's a non-attachment duality sort of going on, right? And as you're observing this, you're realizing that all of these emotions that we're experiencing, we kind of ultimately get to choose. Now, that's situational, and there's difficulties that can arise in the human experience. I'm fully aware of that. It's not to undermine that at all. What I'm simply pointing out was last night I was driving and I'm like, fuck, I'm tired. And then within the next couple of seconds, I sort of had this out-of-body experience. It's the observational experience, right? Because you're never sort of in your body. Anyway, another one. But, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm experiencing tiredness. So at some point, my vehicle needs to rest and recover, for sure. Yeah, like anything does, right? Anything man-made or not. And it was just this sort of like reminding myself that as I go through and experience my frustrations and my happiness, my emotive experience of the reality that I get to experience, because I keep on saying it that way for a particular reason, because we don't experience reality, we experience our reality. What that means is that we observe reality, and then we usually project our value structure and meaning structure onto reality, right? That the finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. And this is a really interesting point, and a key thing to indicate is that if I draw a tree, it's not the tree. If I point at the tree, it's actually still not a tree. What do you mean, David? Of course it's a fucking tree. It's like, well, it didn't exist. It didn't exist going, I hope that this mammal is able to develop a language to communicate with each other to give me a name. The tree just trees, and the human just humans. I don't know. Maybe what I'm really getting at here is this idea that when we can stop and observe all of the things that we project onto everything around us, we can step back and start to have a broader perspective about what's really going on. We start to move away from this good, bad, right, wrong frame of mind and start to move into this what's resourceful here and now, and how am I actually choosing to experience this reality? Without any thought, without any consideration, without awareness of our awareness, we can get stuck in this idea of this makes me feel like X. I'm X. I hate my body, therefore X. When what really occurs is that we're actually missing the meaning structures that are allowing us to feel that way or to think that way. So my offer for you in all of this, in this share, this dump for you, is to practice observing what's arising within you. When I say you, I mean your physical meat skeleton, your thoughts, your mind, your gut, your body. And just observe it and see what comes from that observation, because when we understand that we're the witness, we're the observer, we're not the thing that it's observing, we start to be able to move away and start to choose how we want to show up in that moment. And that's where true power is. That's autonomy now. It's not a reaction anymore, a reaction of previous behavior. And that's powerful. And on that note, team, I am done. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you'd pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, make sure you jump on Facebook, search Beyond the Matrix. I'd love to see you in there. It's a free Facebook group. Otherwise, you can grab my book, Minding Yourself, online anywhere at this stage, and it's due in bookstores in Australia in April, and I'm not certain for America yet, but I'll keep you guys updated. But that's me done. I'm out until tomorrow. Peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.